Hello, I'm Jill Morricone. Welcome to Adventist Review. I'm standing here with Elder Bill Knott. Of course, he's the executive editor of Adventist Review and Adventist World. And we're on day number 2 of the General Conference session. And why don't you tell us the biggest news, I guess you could say, would be the re-election of our World Church President. So walk us through that journey.
The item that probably everyone comes to General Conference session with is on their mind is, first of all, who is the World Church going to identify as its leader for the next term? And that question always hangs over everything until the process that's known affectionately as the nominating committee starts. It's a process that actually began more than 120 years ago in the church, and with some modifications has been followed pretty much almost since the beginning of the church in the 1860s. The intriguing elements of it are that it's not like any traditional political environment. Uh, Individuals selected representing all the groups in the church get together, put persons on a nominating committee, and those individuals start considering a variety of names. This year, it took, I think, 5 hours by my count to get the process set up, considered names, and ultimately reach a decision. But about 8 p.m. last evening, unfortunately too late for our deadlines and for yours, the committee came out with its recommendations. So I think it was almost 9 o'clock by the time the announcement was made that Elder Ted Wilson was being asked to serve a third term as General Conference President. This is a little bit unprecedented, while at least in recent years, it's been almost 50 years since the World Church asked any president to serve a third term.
Was that
And
Daniels before?
actually, before him, no, that
Before
was
him.
Elder Pearson back in
Pearson
the
served. Okay.
70s. But yeah, there had Elder Daniels back early in the 20th century actually served, I don't remember
Was it
the
close to
count.
21
He
years or
was
so?
21 years
Okay.
total. I
Okay.
don't remember how many terms because they
Okay.
weren't 5-year terms back then. But the reality is, it's a significant invitation from the church. This means there's a lot of confidence that the church has in the individual they've asked to lead. And end of a very long day for him, we told him, just as soon as you come off the platform after you've accepted your election, we have a photographer back here and we hurry him into an interview. Traditionally, the first interview that the new president gives is always to the Adventist Review. So we scurried him down a secure hallway and into a former locker room for that
I
interview.
was just going to ask, where was the interview? And it was in a locker room,
It was in
former
a
locker
locker
room.
room,
Okay.
former locker room of the St. Louis Rams, who used to meet here and play here for 20 years. And there we are. It looks like a locker room, had some background set up, and he sat there and did our interview. And he said, "Now keep it short. I'm really tired." And by then we knew he was. We were all worried. It had been a very long day for everyone. But it was a fun environment just because it gave it a little different flavor to the interview.
Absolutely. And I like that. It seems like you asked him a certain question about his leadership and that locker room. So tell us
Well,
about it.
you sit there surrounded by all of the paraphernalia still of a locker room, and so you think about teams and coaches. So I said, okay, here we are in a locker room. Talk to me about what the terms coach and team mean to you here doing this interview right now. And he looked at me and he smiled big and he said, well, I think I can do that, and waded right into a beautiful answer, which, by the way, if you want to read, you'll find it in at the Adventist Review at adventistreview.org. The whole interview is there. It's also in the print edition that comes out tomorrow.
Absolutely. So we encourage you to check that out, adventistsreview.org, and you can read and watch that complete interview with Elder Ted Wilson, the newly reelected
Yes.
General Conference President. Now let's move along to nominating committee number 2. This report came out today. This is the Secretary and the Treasurer. So talk to us about that.
Well, typically the way the process works is when a new president is elected or reelected, that individual is invited to go back in with the nominating committee and share counsel about the other key officers that he believes would support him in what he does. And that's a very careful process. It's truly consultation. There's no announcement. Your names are recommended, there's discussion, alternative names are placed in nomination sometimes, but the result is that the nominating committee and ultimately the whole delegation warmly welcomed Elder Wilson's recommendations of Pastor Ayrton Kohler to serve another term as executive secretary and for Paul Douglas to return as treasurer of the General Conference. Both these men were elected in April of 2021 and are about 13, 14 months into their job, and everyone said, let's keep it going right now.
Amen. So before we go to the general vice presidents, let's turn corners here and let's talk about Secretariat. This morning on the floor, as a delegate, we had the Secretary's report. And sometimes we think Secretariat is just numbers and statistics, which it is, but it encompasses a great deal more, doesn't it?
I don't think I would have ever grasped this until I came to work in the building, and it took me a while even then, because Secretariat really is about the mission of the church, more than about record keeping. It does a lot of that, more than about statistics and research. It does a lot of that. It's what drives the active mission program of the church. So what you've got is one entity responsible for hundreds of international service employees. We would have called them international missionaries some time ago, as well as all the hundreds of volunteer missionaries. And if you don't think it's a challenge to move someone from one continent to another, get the visas, get the health requirements, get the family goods, and make that all happen, it's an immense process. It takes a lot of time, paperwork, and patience to get there. Now, not only those people formally involved in mission, it is also involving thousands of church members who get involved in the initiatives of the church, like Mission to the Cities, like the Adventist Mission. All of these are run out of the same entity that we blithely call Secretariat. And it has a lot more to do than just numbers and data on a page.
I love the mission focus of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Now let's get to those general vice presidents and talk to us about who was elected here today.
General vice presidents are typically what you might call comparable to the sort of president's cabinet. That's a rough analogy. It's not perfect, but they're individuals who are selected to both represent the interests of the world church and who have specific areas of expertise that the president can appoint them to coordinate on behalf of what the term he leads. Often the number has been anywhere between 6 and 9 in recent sessions. This year, the committee came in recommending a total of 7 individuals and Elder Wilson assured us that all the budgets had been prepared. If that was the choice of the committee, there were appropriate budgets and for 7 individuals. And so 5 of the current vice presidents were asked to return, and many familiar names: Elder Billy Biaggi, Elder Abner de los Santos, Elder Arthur Stella, Elder Tom Lemon, and Elder Jeffrey Mabwana. They had served the previous term and were being asked to return. Dr. Ella Simmons, the first female vice president of the General Conference, elected in 2005, had announced 2 years ago her plans to retire, but she kindly stayed on through the pandemic time. And so everyone was wondering, what are we going to do when she retires? How is the church going to meet that need? Today, Elder Wilson came in recommending the name of Audrey Anderson. She is long-term executive secretary of the Trans-European Division of the last 12 years, previously the Swedish Union, a delightful lady who is very well known among the leadership of the church and really one of the most skilled diplomats the church has. So her coming will be a new and a very welcome addition to the administration. And then the last name, and perhaps the one that caught a number of us maybe a little bit more by surprise, Elder Maurice Valentine. Many of us know him because we serve on boards and committees with him. Just 1 year ago, he was elected a vice president of the North American Division, previously president of the Lake Union Conference, and previously president of Central States Conference, the area where we're standing right now. So he knows the St. Louis area well. He was asked to serve as a general vice president today as well. So quite a lot of continuity, some new names as well.
Amen, absolutely. Well, we will be bringing you another report of the Adventist Review tomorrow night.